Chosen one, heaven is watching you right now, and what they see is not who you were 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 3 years ago. What they see is someone who went through what was designed to break them and came out the other side, carrying something they did not have going in. Something new, something powerful, something that heaven itself is confirming today. You mastered a new power, and the spiritual realm knows it even before you fully do. What this power is, it is not a superpower in the natural sense. It is something deeper, more significant, more lasting. It is the power of unshakable peace in the middle of chaos, the kind that does not make sense to anyone watching from the outside, the kind that existed in you even when everything around you was designed to destroy it. It is the power of discernment that sees through what is presented to what is actually there, that reads rooms, reads people, reads situations with an accuracy that goes beyond natural intelligence. It is the power of resilience, not the kind that numbs to survive, the kind that feels everything fully and chooses to rise anyway. Every single time, without exception. It is the power of surrender, the most underestimated power of all. The ability to release control to God completely, without holding back the parts that feel too important, too scary, too uncertain to fully hand over. That power, that complete surrender, is what heaven confirmed today as mastered in you. How you mastered it, not in a classroom, not through a shortcut, through the hardest seasons of your life. The power of peace was mastered in the seasons that gave you every reason to be anything but peaceful. The power of discernment was mastered through every person who showed you one face publicly and another privately and forced you to learn the difference. The power of resilience was mastered through every moment you hit the floor and had to find a reason to get back up when no reason was obvious. The power of surrender was mastered through every situation you tried to control that God kept redirecting until you finally learned that His way was better than yours every single time. None of it was comfortable. All of it was necessary. And now, standing on the other side of everything that built it, you carry something that cannot be taken, cannot be shaken, cannot be undone by anything the enemy sends from here. Why heaven is confirming it now? Because confirmation always comes after the mastering, not before. God does not confirm what He is going to do before you go through it. He confirms what He produced after you came through it. And what was produced in you through every season that felt like it was destroying you is now fully visible in the spiritual realm. Heaven saw every moment you chose peace when panic was more available. Every moment you discerned correctly and acted on what you discerned, even when it cost you. Every moment you rose from a fall that most people would have stayed down from. Every moment you released control and trusted God with outcomes that terrified you. Heaven recorded every single one. And today, the record is being confirmed, officially. You mastered it. The test is complete. The power is yours, permanently, unremovably, sealed by heaven into who you are. What this power does in the spiritual realm. When you walk in the power that heaven just confirmed, things shift before you even open your mouth. The peace you carry disrupts the atmosphere of chaos that the enemy tries to maintain in every space he operates in. The discernment you now walk in exposes what was designed to stay hidden, bringing light into places the enemy needed to stay dark for his plans to work. The resilience you carry makes you immune to the weapons that work on people who have not yet mastered what you have mastered, because you already went through the fire that those weapons create and came out refined, which means they have no new damage to inflict. And the surrender you walk in keeps God fully in control of your story, which means the enemy has no access point to redirect what God is writing, because you keep handing the pen back to the one who writes better than anyone. What changes now that heaven confirmed it? Access changes. Rooms that were previously closed start opening, because what you carry is now recognized by the people God positioned in those rooms, who were waiting for someone with exactly this combination of power to arrive. Assignments change. The level of what God sends you to do elevates, because the power required for the next level of assignment has been confirmed as present in you. And God does not send people to assignments they are not equipped for. He waited until the equipping was complete, and now it is. Impact changes. What you release in prayer, in presence, in every interaction carries a different weight now, a confirmed authority that produces results at a level that was not accessible before the mastering. The enemy's strategies change, because the ones he was using no longer work on you, and he knows it, which means what he sends from here will be different, more sophisticated, but also more desperate, because he's running out of options against someone who just mastered what he was counting on to keep them limited. Someone who just mastered what he was counting on to keep them limited. What God is saying about what you mastered: I saw every moment that built this. Every moment you chose correctly when choosing correctly was the hardest option. Every moment you held on when letting go would have been easier. Every moment you trusted me when trusting felt like foolishness. I saw it all, and I want you to know that what you carry now because of those moments is significant, more significant than you currently understand. The power heaven just confirmed in you is not for personal benefit alone. It is for the people who are going to cross your path in the season that is coming, who need someone who has mastered what you have mastered, to show them that it's possible, that peace in chaos is real, that discernment is accessible, that resilience is buildable, that surrender is the most powerful position a human being can occupy. You are not just a recipient of this power, you are a carrier of it into every space I send you. Walk accordingly with the weight of what heaven confirmed and the humility of someone who knows exactly who produced it. Final word. Heaven confirms it today. You mastered a new power, not because the journey was easy, because you refused to let the difficulty have the final word. Every hard season, every painful betrayal, every moment of confusion, every test that stretched you beyond what felt survivable, produced something that now lives in you permanently. A power that the enemy cannot take back, cannot undo, cannot strategize around, because it was not given casually. It was forged in the specific fires that were designed for you and only you. And what was forged in your fire is custom built for your assignment, for your next season, for the people God is sending into your path who need exactly what you now carry. Walk in it, fully, without shrinking, without apologizing, without waiting for a human confirmation. Heaven already gave it, and heaven's confirmation is the only one that was ever needed. In the comments, write, "Heaven confirmed my new power and I walk in it fully," or the number 777, or "I mastered what God built in me through the fire." Subscribe and stay close. Chosen one, heaven confirmed it. You mastered a new power, and the world is about to find out what that means for everything that comes next. Amen. What this power means for the people around you. They will feel the difference before you explain anything. The people in your life who have known you through the hard seasons will notice something has shifted, not just in how you carry yourself, in how they feel when they are around you. There is something that transfers from people who have genuinely mastered peace, discernment, resilience, surrender. It creates a settling effect on everyone in proximity. Anxious people feel calmer around someone who has mastered peace. Confused people gain clarity around someone who walks in genuine discernment. Discouraged people find something rekindled around someone whose resilience is real, not performed, not preached, just lived. And people who are struggling to trust God find it easier to believe in the presence of someone whose surrender is genuine. You will not have to announce what you carry. Your presence will announce it before you say a single word. And that presence is part of the assignment that comes with the confirmation heaven did not just confirm this power for your personal benefit. It confirmed it because the people assigned to your next season need someone who carries exactly this, in exactly this combination. And that someone is you. What mastery does not mean. It does not mean perfection. Mastery in God's economy is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of something stronger than the struggle. You will still have moments of doubt, of fear, of wanting to take back control from God. You will still have days where peace feels harder to choose, where discernment feels cloudy, where resilience feels thin, where surrender feels like loss. Those moments will come. They always do. But mastery means that those moments no longer define your direction. They are momentary, not permanent. They are weather, not climate. They pass through without changing the foundation that the journey built, because the foundation is now too solid, too deep, too well established to be undone by a difficult day or a difficult season or a difficult person. That is what mastery produces, not a life without struggle, a life where struggle no longer has the final word. God does. And God said, "You mastered it." That stands, regardless of what any given day tries to tell you. What the next level looks like. Mastery of one power opens access to the next. God does not reveal everything at once. He reveals in layers, in alignment with what has been mastered, because each level of power requires the foundation of what was mastered before it. Peace had to be mastered before the next level of authority could be accessed. Discernment had to be confirmed before the next level of revelation could be released. Resilience had to be forged before the next level of assignment could be trusted. Surrender had to be real before the next level of blessing could be safely received. And now that this level is confirmed, the next one is becoming accessible. God is beginning to show you things that He could not show you before, not because He was withholding, because you were not yet positioned to receive them well, to steward them faithfully, to carry them without being destabilized by what they reveal. But you are positioned now, and the next layer is coming, in the form of deeper revelation, clearer direction, more specific assignment, more significant access to what God has been building for this season of your life. Stay open, stay hungry, stay close to God, because what He is about to show you next required everything you just mastered to be able to see. Final word. Heaven confirms it today. You mastered a new power. Not because the journey was easy, because you refused to let the difficulty have the final word. Every hard season, every painful betrayal, every moment of confusion, every test that stretched you beyond what felt survivable,
produced something that now lives in you permanently, a power that cannot be taken back, cannot be undone, cannot be strategized around, because it was forged in the specific fire designed for you and only you. Walk in it fully, without shrinking, without apologizing, without waiting for a human confirmation. Heaven already gave it, and heaven's confirmation is the only one that was ever needed. In the comments, write, "Heaven confirmed my new power, and I walk in it fully," or the number 777, or "I mastered what God built in me through the fire." Subscribe and stay close. Chosen one, heaven confirmed it. You mastered a new power, and the world is about to find out what that means for everything that comes next. Amen.
What happens when you walk in confirmed power daily? It becomes your natural posture, not something you have to remind yourself of, not something you have to perform, not something you have to manufacture. On days when motivation is low, it simply becomes who you are. The way breathing is natural, the way your heartbeat is natural. This power, now confirmed by heaven, begins to operate in you automatically. In situations that previously triggered fear, peace rises before panic can settle. In conversations where deception is present, discernment activates before confusion can take hold. In moments where the weight feels heaviest, resilience surfaces before defeat can speak. In circumstances that demand control, surrender becomes the first response, not the last resort. That is what walking in confirmed power daily looks like. Not dramatic, not showy, just consistent, quiet, real. The kind of power that does not need to announce itself, because everyone in the room already feels it before it says a word. What your testimony will sound like. One day, not far from now, you will be telling this story to someone who is in the middle of the season that built what heaven just confirmed. And you will say things that only someone who has been through it could say with authority. You will say, "I know what it feels like to choose peace when everything is falling apart. I know what it costs to trust discernment when everyone around you is telling you that you are wrong. I know what resilience feels like from the inside when you have nothing left but you get up anyway. I know what surrender actually means, not as a spiritual concept, as a lived daily decision that feels like loss before it feels like freedom. And that testimony will carry a weight that nothing else can replicate, because it will not come from theory. It will come from someone who mastered it in the real world, in real circumstances, with real pain, and a real God who was faithful through all of it. That is the testimony being written right now, in your life, in this season. And it will matter more than you currently understand, to more people than you can currently imagine. What confirmed power does to fear. Fear loses its grip, not all at once, but steadily. The fears that used to paralyze you start to feel smaller, not because the circumstances changed, because what is inside you has grown larger than what the circumstances carry. Fear of rejection that used to stop you from stepping into rooms God assigned you to loses authority, because you know now that rejection is not the worst thing. Walking away from God's assignment is the worst thing. Fear of failure that used to keep you from attempting what God placed in you loses its power, because you understand now that what looks like failure in God's hands often becomes the foundation of the most significant part of your testimony. Fear of being seen, of being too much,
of taking up space that others might feel you do not deserve, loses its voice, because heaven just confirmed that you belong in exactly the spaces God is sending you into. And heaven's confirmation outweighs every human opinion that ever tried to tell you otherwise. Fear does not disappear from your life, but it stops driving it. And that change is everything. Final word. Heaven confirms it today. You mastered a new power, not because the journey was easy, because you refused to let the difficulty have the final word. Every hard season, every painful betrayal, every moment of confusion, every test that stretched you beyond what felt survivable, produced something that now lives in you permanently. A power that cannot be taken back, cannot be undone, cannot be strategized around, because it was forged in the specific fire designed for you and only you. Walk in it fully, without shrinking, without apologizing, without waiting for a human confirmation. Heaven already gave it, and heaven's confirmation is the only one that was ever needed. In the comments write, "Heaven confirmed my new power, and I walk in it fully," or the number 777, or "I mastered what God built in me through the fire." Subscribe and stay close. Chosen one, heaven confirmed it. You mastered a new power, and the world is about to find out what that means for everything that comes next. Amen.
What confirmed power looks like in your hardest moments. This is the real test. Not in the easy moments, not when everything is going well, not when the favor is visible and the blessings are flowing, but in the moments when everything goes wrong at the same time. When the bill arrives unexpectedly, when the relationship hits a wall, when the door you were certain was open closes suddenly, when the person you trusted disappoints you again. In those moments, confirmed power reveals itself. Not by making the hard moment disappear, but by changing how you move through it. Before the mastery, hard moments pulled you under, took days to recover from, sometimes weeks, left marks that took months to heal. After the mastery, hard moments still come, but they do not take you under. You feel them, fully, without numbing, without pretending. And then something rises in you that was not always there. A groundedness, a knowing that this moment, like every hard moment before it, is not the end of your story. It is a page in it, and God is still holding the pen. That is confirmed power, in its most real form. Not the absence of hard moments, the presence of something stronger than what the hard moments carry. What people who have known you longest will say. They will notice the change, even if they do not have words for it. The ones who knew you before the seasons that built this will look at you now and see something different. Not just on the surface, something underneath, something settled, something that was not there before. And some of them will say it directly. You are different now. Something changed in you. I do not know what happened, but whatever it is, keep it. Others will feel it without saying it, will be drawn to spend time with you in ways they were not before, will find conversations with you more grounding than they expected, will leave your presence feeling more settled than they arrived without fully understanding why. Because what God confirmed in you transfers. It is not selfish, it is not contained. It moves from you into the people around you without you having to try, without you having to perform, without you even always being aware that it is happening. That is the nature of power, confirmed by heaven and carried by someone walking faithfully in what God built. What this power protects you from going forward. Cycles that would have repeated. The patterns that kept bringing you back to the same pain through different people, different situations, different packaging, but the same wound at the center. The discernment you now walk in catches those patterns earlier, before they fully establish, before the damage is done. And the peace you carry means you no longer need what those cycles were providing. The temporary comfort of the familiar, even when familiar was painful, you do not need that anymore, because what God confirmed in you provides something more real, more sustaining, more genuinely comforting than any cycle ever could. Relationships that would have drained you now get discerned early and either transformed by the power of what you carry or released, without the prolonged suffering that used to accompany every ending, because you now recognize faster what belongs in your story and what was just passing through. And decisions that would have cost you years of recovery get filtered through the peace that only agrees with what aligns with God's direction and stays quietly uncomfortable around everything that does not. Trust that quiet discomfort. It is confirmed discernment working on your behalf before the decision fully forms. Final word. Heaven confirms it today. You mastered a new power, not because the journey was easy, because you refused to let the difficulty have the final word. Every hard season, every painful betrayal, every moment of confusion, every test that stretched you beyond what felt survivable produced something that now lives in you permanently. A power that cannot be taken back, cannot be undone, cannot be strategized around, because it was forged in the specific fire designed for you and only you. Walk in it, fully, without shrinking, without apologizing, without waiting for a human confirmation. Heaven already gave it, and heaven's confirmation is the only one that was ever needed. In the comments write, "Heaven confirmed my new power and I walk in it fully," or the number 777, or "I mastered what God built in me through the fire." Subscribe and stay close. Chosen one, heaven confirmed it. You mastered a new power, and the world is about to find out what that means for everything that comes next. Amen.